My fellow Americans, and especially the young who carry in their hearts the fire of tomorrow, I want to speak tonight about two of the greatest gifts ever entrusted to mankind: freedom and the American dream. These are not mere words, not empty slogans to be recited and forgotten. They are the heartbeat of our nation, the foundation of our progress, the light that has guided generations through trials and triumphs. Freedom and the American dream are not only ideas to be admired, they are responsibilities to be cherished, protected, and lived every single day. Freedom is the birthright of every human being. It is not granted by kings or governments. It is not bestowed by rulers or elites. It comes from God Himself, placed in the soul of every man, woman, and child. Our founders understood this truth when they declared that all men are created equal, endowed by their Creator with unalienable rights. Those words lit a torch that has burned for more than 2 centuries, and that torch has guided us through every storm. But freedom is never more than 1 generation away from extinction. It does not pass to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on. That duty, my friends, now belongs to you. The American dream is the promise that freedom makes possible. It is the belief that here in this land, no matter where you begin, you can rise as far as your courage and determination will take you. It is the dream that brought pilgrims across the ocean, that carried pioneers across mountains and plains, that sent immigrants from every corner of the globe to these shores with hope in their hearts. It is the dream that a child born in poverty can become a leader, that the son of a factory worker can invent something that changes the world, that the daughter of immigrants can climb higher than her parents ever dared to imagine. That is the American dream, the belief that your future is not written by your past, but by your vision, your effort, and your faith. I have traveled this country, from small towns where the church steeple is still the tallest building, to great cities where the lights shine like stars on earth. And everywhere I have seen the power of freedom and the dream it inspires. I have met farmers who rise before dawn because they believe in the dignity of hard work. I have shaken hands with factory workers who take pride in building something with their hands that will serve others. I have spoken to students who study late into the night because they know education is the bridge to their dreams. These people may never see their names in history books, but they are the living testimony of the American dream. And yet, we must never forget that freedom is not free. The blessings we enjoy have been purchased with sacrifice, by the soldier who left home to defend liberty, by the activist who spoke truth to power, by the pioneer who braved unknown dangers, by the parent who worked 2 jobs so that their children might live better. Their sacrifices remind us that freedom is fragile and precious, and it demands from each of us a spirit of gratitude and a will to preserve it. Now, some may say the American dream is fading, that it belongs to the past, that cynicism and division have stolen its promise. But I do not believe that. I have seen too many young people filled with ambition, too many entrepreneurs building new ideas, too many communities standing together in times of hardship to believe the dream is gone. The American dream is not fading, it is waiting for the next generation to claim it, to renew it, to expand it so that it belongs to all. That next generation is you. The power of freedom lies not only in the ability to choose, but in the responsibility to choose well. Freedom without responsibility becomes chaos. Freedom without morality becomes tyranny. True freedom is the power to live with dignity, to pursue your dreams, to worship according to your conscience, to speak your mind without fear, and to build a life for yourself and your family. And when millions of free people live out those freedoms together, they form a society that is not only prosperous, but just not only powerful, but good. The American dream does not promise ease. It does not guarantee comfort. What it promises is opportunity. Opportunity for the dreamer, for the worker, for the inventor, for the student, for the mother, for the father, for the immigrant, for every man and woman who is willing to rise each morning and say, I will not let my circumstances define me. I will let my dreams define me. That is the essence of America. Think of the immigrants who arrived with little more than hope in their pockets, who spoke little English, who faced prejudice and hardship, yet worked day and night so that their children might know a life of freedom and opportunity. They did not come because America guaranteed success. They came because America guaranteed the chance to try. And in that chance, they built businesses, communities, and families whose contributions echo through our history. I want to speak directly to the young people listening tonight. You are the heirs of freedom and the guardians of the American dream. It is not enough to admire these gifts from afar. You must live them, defend them, and pass them on. You will be tempted to settle for less, to believe that the dream is too hard, that the freedom is too fragile, that the obstacles are too great. But I urge you to resist that temptation. The challenges before you are not greater than the challenges faced by those who came before you. They too faced division, hardship, war, and doubt. But they believed in the power of freedom, and because of that belief they overcame. So will you. My friends, let us remember that freedom is not only for us, but for all people. America has always been more than a place. It has been a beacon. From the Statue of Liberty that welcomed the tired and poor, to the soldiers who carried liberty across oceans, to the leaders who declared that walls must come down, America has always stood as a symbol that freedom can flourish and that dreams can be realized. And though we are not perfect, though we have stumbled and fallen, the power of freedom has always lifted us back up and carried us forward. And so tonight I call on you to renew your faith in freedom and in the dream it makes possible. Do not let cynicism rob you of hope. Do not let fear chain your imagination. Do not let doubt silence your ambition. Believe as generations before you believed that this land is not only a place where dreams are possible, but where dreams are expected. Dream boldly, live freely, and remember that the power to shape the future rests not in the hands of a few, but in the hearts of many, in your hands. When we talk about the American dream, we are not speaking only of personal success, or of wealth, or of material gain. Those things may come, and they may pass. What endures is something deeper, something far greater. The American dream is about the dignity of being free, about the pride of earning what you have, about the chance to rise as far as your God-given talents and your determination will carry you. It is about knowing that no matter where you start, the finish line is open to you. And that dream, my young friends, is worth fighting for, worth defending, and worth passing on. You see, freedom is not just the absence of chains, it is the presence of choices. It is the ability to choose your path, to speak your mind, to live according to your values without fear of punishment. It is the right to rise or fall by your own effort, the right to build, to create, to work, and to worship. But with that right comes responsibility. Freedom gives us the chance to climb, but it demands the courage to take the first step. It gives us the chance to succeed, but it requires the discipline to prepare. It gives us the chance to live as we choose, but it asks that we respect the same right for others. When I think of freedom, I think of a farmer standing in his field at sunrise, knowing that what he plants is his own, that what he grows will feed his family and his community. I think of a young woman in a library, surrounded by books that open her mind to worlds she has never seen, knowing that in this land her knowledge can take her anywhere. I think of a worker in a factory, proud of his craft, proud that the product of his labor will serve a neighbor he may never meet. These are not grand gestures, they are the quiet, daily triumphs of free people living free lives. And together they form the backbone of the American dream. Now, I will not tell you that freedom is easy. Freedom demands sacrifice. Freedom requires us to make hard choices, to carry burdens, to stand up for what we believe even when the world mocks us. Freedom sometimes calls on us to defend it with our very lives. Countless young men and women have worn the uniform of this country, not because freedom was guaranteed, but because it was worth defending. They marched onto battlefields they would never return from so that you and I might stand here tonight with voices unshackled, with dreams unbroken, with hearts unafraid. Let us never forget that the power of freedom has always been purchased by the price of courage. The American dream has always been tied to that same courage. Courage to start over when the odds are against you. Courage to speak up when silence would be easier. Courage to dream when others say it cannot be done. Every generation of Americans has faced its test, and every time it was not despair that carried us through, but belief. Belief in the power of freedom, belief in the promise of the dream, belief in the idea that tomorrow can be better if we have the courage to make it so. I want you, the young people of this nation, to remember that the dream does not belong to Washington, or to the powerful, or to the wealthy. It belongs to you. It belongs to the student in the classroom, the worker at the job site, the artist with a vision, the scientist in the lab, the soldier on the line. It belongs to every American who rises each day with hope in his heart and determination in her soul. The dream does not live in marble buildings. It lives in the hearts of free people who refuse to give up. There will be times when you will be tempted to believe the dream is slipping away. You may see injustice. You may feel the weight of economic hardship. You may hear voices telling you that the system is broken, that the dream is dead. But I tell you now, the dream is alive as long as you are alive. It is alive as long as one young man refuses to surrender to despair, as long as one young woman refuses to be told she cannot succeed, as long as one person says, I will not give up, I will not be defeated, I will not be denied. That spirit is the American dream, and it cannot be extinguished. Let me share with you a truth I have learned over many years. Freedom and the dream it makes possible are not only about what we take, but about what we give. The dream is not selfish. It is not about building a life only for yourself. It is about lifting others as you rise, about opening doors for those who come after you, about ensuring that when your children and your grandchildren look back, they will say that you carried the torch forward. The true measure of the American dream is not how high we climb, but how many we bring with us. And this is why freedom matters. Because only in freedom can dreams grow. Only in freedom can innovation flourish. Only in freedom can compassion and charity thrive. Freedom is the soil from which the American dream springs, and without it, the dream withers. Look around the world, and you will see nations where people are denied their liberty, where the human spirit is crushed under the weight of tyranny. There the dream does not live because it cannot breathe. But here, in this land, freedom breathes, and so the dream soars. The power of freedom is that it allows ordinary people to do extraordinary things. It was freedom that gave us inventors who changed the way we live, leaders who changed the way we think, and citizens who changed the course of history. It was freedom that allowed a poor boy with little more than determination to rise to the highest office in the land. And it is freedom that will allow you, no matter your background, to shape the future in ways we cannot yet imagine. But freedom, like a muscle, grows only when it is used. If we take it for granted, if we neglect it, if we fail to defend it, it weakens. And so I call on you, not only to cherish your freedom, but to use it. Use it to speak truth. Use it to create beauty. Use it to serve others. Use it to chase your dream with courage and determination. For freedom is not meant to be hidden away. It is meant to be lived boldly and fully. And when you live your freedom, when you chase your dream, you give hope to others. You remind your neighbors that the American dream is not just something we talk about in history books. It is something alive and present, something that can be touched and felt and achieved. Your courage will inspire their courage. Your dream will awaken their dream. And together you will keep alive the greatest legacy ever entrusted to a people, the legacy of freedom and the promise of the dream. My friends, when we speak of freedom, we are not speaking of something that exists only in the pages of history or in the speeches of politicians. Freedom is something alive. It is something you carry with you each morning when you wake. It is the knowledge that today you can decide what kind of person you want to be, what kind of contribution you want to make, and what kind of future you want to build. That is the essence of liberty, the chance to shape your own destiny, guided by your conscience, your faith, and your dreams. I often think about the courage of those who came before us. The American dream was not handed down from heaven fully formed. It was built stone by stone, sacrifice by sacrifice, by men and women who believed in something greater than themselves. They left their homes across oceans to set foot on a new land, not knowing what dangers awaited them, but carrying with them a simple hope. The hope that in freedom they could build a better life. And build they did. They plowed the fields, they raised families, they started businesses, they wrote laws, and they built a nation. They stumbled, they struggled, and sometimes they failed, but they never stopped believing. And because they never stopped, we are here today, free people in a free land. The American dream, then, is not just about you or me. It is about all of us. It is the great chain of human progress, where each generation takes what it has been given and strives to leave something better. And so the question before you, young men and women, is this: what will you do with your freedom? Will you guard it? Will you use it? Will you pass it on? Because if you do, then the American dream will endure, and it will shine even brighter for those who come after you. Now let me speak plainly. There will be obstacles in your way. No great dream comes without its trials. You will face disappointment. You will face critics who say you cannot succeed, who tell you that the odds are against you. Some will tell you to settle, to lower your sights, to accept less than what you are capable of. But hear me now. You must never let the voices of doubt drown out the whispers of your own potential. Freedom gives you the right to dream, but it also gives you the duty to pursue those dreams with everything you have. Do not be afraid of failure. Failure is not the enemy of the dream, it is part of the journey. Every man and woman who has ever achieved greatness has first known the sting of defeat. But freedom means you can rise again. You can learn from your mistakes, you can pick yourself up, and you can try once more. Each setback is not the end of your story. It is simply the beginning of a new chapter. And if you have the courage to keep turning the page, you will discover the triumph that lies ahead. I want you to picture the kind of America you want to see. Close your eyes and imagine it. Do you see a nation where opportunity knows no boundaries? Where every child, no matter the color of their skin or the place of their birth, has the same chance to chase their dreams? Do you see communities where neighbors stand shoulder to shoulder, where kindness is stronger than hatred, where hope is stronger than fear? That is not just a dream, that is a vision you can help bring to life. And it begins with you deciding, here and now, that your freedom will not be wasted. The power of freedom is that it multiplies itself. When you choose to live boldly, you encourage others to do the same. When you dream without limits, you inspire those around you to dream higher. When you work hard and refuse to give up, you show others that perseverance is stronger than circumstance. In this way, freedom does not just shape your destiny, it shapes the destiny of everyone who sees your example. You may never know how many lives you have touched, how many hearts you have lifted, simply by living your freedom with courage. And let me remind you of something else: a freedom without faith is incomplete. For freedom alone tells us we may choose, but faith reminds us what is worth choosing. Freedom gives us the tools, but faith gives us the purpose. Together, they form the foundation of the American dream. And so I say to you, do not only dream of riches or fame. Dream of service, dream of honor, dream of leaving this world a little better than you found it. That too is the American dream, the dream of giving as much as we gain, of serving as much as we are blessed. There will be those who try to convince you that freedom is dangerous, that the dream is selfish, that people cannot be trusted with the power to live their own lives. But those voices are wrong. The story of America proves they are wrong. We are a nation built not on control, but on liberty. We are a people bound not by chains, but by choice. And the greatness of this land lies in the millions of free decisions made each day by ordinary men and women. Decisions to work, to create, to care, to sacrifice, to love. That is where the dream lives, and that is where it grows. So, to the young dreamers listening tonight, let me say this: never believe that you are too small to make a difference. Never believe that your voice cannot be heard. The greatest movements in history began not with armies or empires, but with individuals who dared to believe in freedom and dared to dream of something more. One spark of courage can light 1,000 candles of hope, and in your lifetime you can be that spark. You can be the one who ignites change, who lifts others, who keeps the flame of liberty burning bright. The American dream is not a guarantee. It is not promised to us in perpetuity. It must be claimed by each generation, renewed by each heart, defended by each citizen. That is the task before you. That is the calling of freedom, and I believe with all my heart that you are equal to it. Because within you lies the same spirit that carried our forefathers across the seas, the same spirit that carried our soldiers across battlefields, the same spirit that carried our pioneers across mountains and plains. It is the spirit of freedom, and it is alive in you. So rise, young Americans. Lift your eyes to the horizon. Dare to dream as no one has dreamed before. And when you dream not only for yourself, but for your family, your community, your country. Because the American dream is not only yours, it is ours. It is the bond that unites us, the promise that sustains us, the gift that we must never let slip away.